Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Liz, your host here at Unsolved. Today we're going to be talking about a cold case. We're going to be talking about the Houston Icebox killer. Responding to a welfare check that was reported by Marvin Martin on June 23rd of 1965, there was two police officers from Houston who went to the address 1815 Driscoll Street. So when they knocked on the door, there was no answer. They went around the back but could see no one could be seen. They did find what looked like a barricade that was made with flower pots or gardening pots, and it looked like this was meant to block the back door. So this was kind of off-putting. So what they did is they pushed through the barricade and went in the back door. But when they went inside, again, they didn't find anyone. The feeling of the house was off-putting as well. It was really strange. And they continued their way into the house and then went into the kitchen. Now, mind you, one of the police officers, he just kind of went with the flow. And you know how sometimes people are like, I need to check this? This is what this officer did. So he checked the fridge. And inside, he saw a ton of meat. This cop actually didn't know why, like I just mentioned, why he looked in the fridge. He just felt like he had to. And at first, he thought this meat was from a hog, but it wasn't. When he looked down into the vegetable drawer of the fridge, he saw two heads that were clearly decapitated from their human remains. What he had found in the meat in the fridge that he was looking at were the cut up remains or dismembered remains of Fred and Edwina Rogers. So someone came into their house and killed this elderly couple, drained them of their blood, forcefully removed Fred's genitals and then his eyes, then proceeded to take his bowels and dump them down the sewer. They were dismembered and then put in the fridge, but the oddity of this case is that it's still unsolved, or technically unsolved. It was revealed that Fred was bludgeoned with a claw hammer. Edwina was shot and beaten. Now, specifically, she was execution style shot in the head. Fred's death was completely overboard, which made the investigators assume that it was a crime of passion. They then were dismembered in the upstairs bathroom, and there was little to no blood found in the house except for a little bit found on Charles's door. Now, I guess you're wondering who Charles is. So, Charles is the 42-year-old son of Fred and Edwina Rogers, and quickly he became the prime suspect in this case. So, Charles lived with his parents, yet he was nowhere to be found on this day. Also, when they went to his room, they found a little bit of blood on the keyhole of his door. Charles was a rather elusive man. He would only communicate with his parents via notes underneath the door, and this is partially due to the fact that he would leave home relatively early, in like the early hours of the morning, and he would return home late at night. He was a seismologist. He was also a retired veteran from World War II, and he worked for Shell Oil as a seismologist. But here is the oddity. Charles was never found. He was legally declared dead in absentia, so his estate would go to probate court. This case is still unresolved. Ultimately, people believe that he was the perpetrator in his parents' murder case and that he then went to Honduras, in which he ended up being murdered by a pickaxe. No, I'm not kidding. But we don't know. House at 1815 Driscoll Street remained empty for years until and unsold until it was demolished in 1972. In 2000, the lot was finally built on by condos, like many other properties, like many other properties that just sit dormant. I know one in particular that sat dormant. They tore part of it down and then they built condos on the property, and now people that buy the condos don't live there for very long because the land is haunted. But that, my friends, is the Houston Icebox killer case. of Charles Rogers, the murder of Fred and Edwina Rogers. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.